Hello YouTube, this is Sir Burg the Nerd here. Just wanted to share with you all my first experiences with motovlogging. So far things have been rather challenging, I should say. Mainly because I came at it being rather unprepared in regards to the right kind of camera, mounts, audio solutions. And I had a lot of issues with wind noise and pretty much couldn't use any of my audio without running through it some kind of spectrum filter to remove the noise. I started out with this little monoprice El Cheapo HD bullet cam here. And the video wasn't all that great. Audio was horrible. So didn't really have all that good experiences with it. I mean, its only saving grace was it was waterproof. And this here was the audio device I used to capture that. An old Olympus VN7000. I mean, it was okay for what it was back in the day, but I mean, it wasn't really all that compatible with the Sony ECM-CS3 lapel mic that I have. So that was likely the cause of all the wind noise, because this mic right here was likely picking that up on top of the external microphone, since there wasn't any menu option to shut it off. So I've since upgraded my camera to a Sony FDR-X3000. Mainly I went with that model over the GoPro due to the image stabilization, because my first run-in was bouncing all over the place, and images on this are pretty stable. I mean, it does have a little bit of what do you call that, wandering shutter thing. I'm not really all that versed in the video department yet. And then I also upgraded my recorder to one of these Tascam DR22WL. It's a nice little unit. It's also Wi-Fi activated, so you can control this with your smartphone as well. The other main challenges I've been having too is that, like, these mounts that come with these action cams and the other universal type mounts, I mean, none of them really have a decent curvature for any helmet that you're wearing. I mean, the foam double-sided tape works okay. I mean, you can layer it up to make it work, but I mean, all those layers of loose foam just decreases your image stability. So I'm a little bit better situation to kind of correct that. Like Yami R6, I have a 3D printer. You know, this guy over here. So I can use that just to make out any mount I want. So part of that is I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to take this and custom fit it to my helmet over here. Cleaned up a little bit on my desk here, got everything set out. So first thing I want to find out, getting a proper fit, is we need to take some measurements of this first. So I'll use a pair of calipers here to get the length and the width of it. Let's see. So I'll zero that out. I'm just going to draw a little box. And roughly 58.5 millimeters. 58.5 that way, and 46.95 the other way. Alright, and then we're going to have to measure this internal radius right here. Of course, this has got some reason they designed it with more of a radius in the center than these two sides. Not entirely sure why they did that, but they did. So I'll just draw a little representative profile there. Now I get my trusty radius gauge out. These you can find these on Amazon, eBay, a few other places. Same with the calipers. If you're going to be doing any kind of measuring work, they're necessary. I figured 30 millimeters bridge length probably going to work for that. So set my bridge on, and I'll set that right down on there. Now this is going to be an approximation, so, and the gauge is spring loaded, so you just got to kind of support it lightly and tighten it down so that's just barely sticking down. So when you turn it on, I set my bridge to 30 mil. You put it on a flat surface, it'll tell you your radius of the concave surface. So we have roughly 81 millimeters. I'll do the same procedure the other way. So the short one is a radius of 122.58 approximately. Like I said, these are all approximate measurements anyway, so it's not going to be an exact fit. So now that I've got that, I'll have to take some measurements of the area that I want to mount it. So, which I'm going to change bridges for that, since 58 millimeters is our highest number. Closest I've got is this 60 millimeter bridge. So I'll get an area taped off and we'll go from there. Okay, so now that I have my helmet taped off here, roughly, I'm going to get a rough measurement of what the contour of the helmet is like. So I'll just make a notation down here. That way I can indicate which measurement directions I'm taking it. So I want to go the long way here. And so we have roughly 73.27 that way. And I'll call this north down there. So 73.27 millimeters. And then we'll go this way. And it's got 68.75. And go across. No, actually that's not very good comparison there. Tape's getting in the way, but now laterally this way, 79.55. Now, got 71.39 here, so slightly less. arc on there. So, and we'll go 56.44. 4 millimeters. The bottom, at least as close as I can get it, is 66.7. So, I'm gonna have a bit of a complex arcing surface there. So I will take these measurements and open up my AutoCAD program and get started making it. Catch you back in a few. Anyway, I just spent about an hour or two getting this model done. See, I've got it all assembled based on the measurements that I took earlier. So I made a left and a right side just so that I can, you know, if I don't like having it on one side or the other, I can switch the mount around. But anyway, now that I have the model here made in AutoCAD, I got to export it out to a stereolithography file format that my 3D printer is going to recognize. So at least, you know, in AutoCAD, it's got that format native for export, so I can do that. And just export it out. Now I just use AutoCAD for doing my 3D modeling stuff. Now, there's a lot of other 3D programs out there, you know, Maya, 3D Studio Max, Blender is a popular one. I think that one's open source, so it's free to download and use as you need. There's a few other open source programs that you can use that you don't have to pay for. I mean, it'll get the job done. I mean, you don't really need anything fancy. But anyway, now that I got that exported, I'm going to open up my slicing program so that it'll interpret the model into a set of G code that my printer will understand and be able to print. So I'll just open this up here. Now it's set up, so it'll take, at least according to this, about an hour and 13 minutes based on the current print settings. So yeah, I'll just set the material for ABS and let the printer do its thing. Catch you back in a little bit. The 3D printer got done printing, and I got my first prototype off of that. Made a few little adjustments just to get a little better fit on the surfaces between the mount and the helmet, and ended up with the final version here. As you can see, this is actually printed in a fused nylon material, courtesy of Shapeways. And as you can see, it's got a great profile for the helmet as well as the bottom of the mount. I mounted this with 3M VHB double-sided tape, and there's barely any noticeable shimmy on this, and it's, you know, incredibly strong. So I'm certainly not going to have the camera falling off because of the adhesion anytime soon. Also ended up modeling a external battery pack holder, because I noticed when I'm shooting at 4K, the Sony camera tends to eat up batteries pretty quickly. So that'll help me maintain my footage consistency when I'm out on the road and I haven't changed batteries. Also modeled this little thing here. It was a Sony ECM-CS3, but I made a new mount for the mic elements so that they'd be more directional when speaking, so to pick up less ambient noise. Also modeled this little nifty stabilization linkage to mount the camera onto to even stiffen up the rig further. This is also printed in that fused nylon material. But all in all, I mean, it's a pretty nice little rig. I mean, it keeps the camera right where I wanted and gets rid of all the jitteriness that I had earlier, so that's working out pretty well for me. I'm sure there's other solutions out there, but if you want to take any look at anything I've made, you can check that out on our store, bikelifeismylife.com, and go to the Motovlogger section, and there's a link in there for Shapeways. So all my stuff is now printed through Shapeways. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you guys later.